Wanda with Jimmy Branch Homestead, and I thought I would bring you along today to share with you the large coop that I bought from Temu and how I am utilizing it as a run attached to a chicken coop. So I've done quite a few modifications, and I'm going to share those with you as well. So the coop comes with this green chicken wire. It is very light, and I was very worried about predators getting through it. So I put a 3-foot predator guard around the bottom half of the coop all the way around. And I also used a piece on the door. It overlaps to the predator guard I have on the ground, so nothing can really get in there. Mice will be able to get through these little squares if they're small enough. I can't stop that, and then I had to cut out here for the handle so that it would open and close. This is the inside of the run. Now the coop does come with one tarp. I don't know that it's waterproof. The one I have in the rooster coop, it's like water repellent but not waterproof. So when it rains really hard, it does get wet through it. So going inside, I am going to take this magnetic sweeper. I can't let the chickens out until I use this. I'm just going to go all the way around, although there really shouldn't be anything on the ground here. Oh, it's stuck to the side. Except for up by the doors where I'm really concerned. Up around here, because I did put the end on the run, and then I put it up against my coop. And the way I put it up against my coop, here's where I want to get real good just in case. Is I use this plumbing tape, this strapping tape, and screwed it to it to really fasten it down tight. And then I had to cut the doorway out from the end of the run that I had here. You can kind of see here's the netting from the run, and inside's the hardware cloth that I had on the end of the coop. And they're anxious trying to get out. These chicks are, I believe, 6 weeks old. They might be getting closer to 7 or 8 weeks. Let's see, I got them on the 16th of April. So, once I cut out the end for the doorway, of the end of the run, or Temu's large coop, then I did staple it down. And up here, I think you can see the hardware cloth. What I did to join them was I used, again, 3-foot hardware cloth and put half on top of the coop, which is what you see here, and half into the run. That way, I've really predator-proof where I join it, because I figured the weakest place is going to be up there and down along here. And I ran that 3-foot piece all the way to the ground. So they can't get in between here because I have predator proof on the inside of the run here, and then I have it on the outside joining the coop and the run clear to the corner. And I did it all the way across the top and down the other side. They call this a large coop from Temu, but there's no way for them to really get out of the weather other than just under that tarp. So I like my chickens to have a nice dry place to go, and that's why they have this nice large coop. So I'm going to run this back and forth again. Run it back out here too, just in case it went flying. I did see a few pieces and I picked it up. I tried to be real careful not to get any of the little ends, but you know, it could happen. So okay, I'm going to take this out and let the chickens out. Okay, I've tied a rope on the handle. I'm just going to tie it to the side over here when I open the door to keep the door open so they can come in and out. All right, chicks, come out for the first time. Yeah, I got to take those little pieces down. Gonna stop right in front of the door, huh? Some of them want to eat first. I don't seem quite sure about coming out yet. I probably need to get the screwdriver and take those boards out. I just had those in there for when they were real little and just hadn't gotten around to taking them out. I thought if I got away from the door, maybe they'd come out faster, but I need to get that board out of the way for them. Okay, so I took the boards out that I had across it inside the door and put a real small 2x4 across the middle right there, and they're starting to come out. Ooh, grass! Okay, so I saved one of these little bungees from the Temu kit to use as an extra safety precaution with the lock, because this type of door latch, I'm afraid that if a dog or a coyote hit this just right, jumping up, they could unlatch that and have access to my chickens. So I just use this as a little extra precaution to latch it together. And these are for putting the tarp on, just so you can see what they were used for. You can also zip tie them. I think the last one I did a lot of zip tying on it. So what I also did was, if you've been watching my videos, you saw how I had this tarp longer than the chicken coop, and it was tied back about halfway. So I've been able to pull this out, and the reason I like to do this, at least a couple feet past the coop, and this is probably 3 feet past the coop, is so that when it rains, the rain's not going in this end of the coop. But I like to have a lot of it more open for airflow. I did put one of the tarps up here that I had on the end of the coop originally when they were real little. You can see it doesn't reach over here. You could leave it off if you want. You could put a bigger one on if you want. That's what I had, so that's what I put up. It doesn't look real pretty, but it gets the job done. And that's mainly, you know, from the coop out. So you can see it doesn't go down all the way on the other side either, but it does go down further than on this side. And that's because during the hottest part of the day, the sun comes in from that direction. So that's why I kind of offset it further down that side. Oh, they're coming out and enjoying it now. Look at that. Looks like a good many of them are out. There is 31 egg layers in this coop. 3 different kinds. Again, I have white leghorns. The red ones are Rhode Island Reds. And the black and white ones are Plymouth Barred Rocks. The Rhode Island Reds and the Plymouth Barred Rocks are dual purpose birds. So we could also butcher and eat those. I unfortunately don't have any roosters yet. So I am looking for roosters for these types of chickens. At least the Rhode Island Red and the Plymouth Barred Rocks, so that I could hatch them and get more for meat birds, and to replace these as they get too old. They lay good typically for about 3 years, so I will band these soon, their legs, when they get a little bigger, with the color for this year. That's how I can tell which year they were hatched as I get more and more chickens. Oh yeah, they're enjoying that now. Okay, the other thing I wanted to really show you today is how important it is to predator-proof the ground. And I had to do this just a little bit differently than what I do for the chicken coop, because I don't have anything to staple it to. So what I did was I come up about 3-4 inches here, and then I zip tie it to the hardware cloth on the inside, and then I use ground staples and staple it down. I mean, it's like weed fabric staples, and then the grass will just grow right through this, and before long you won't even see it. You just use the mower and go right over the top of it. I have this on all of my chicken coops as a safety precaution. I did this yesterday because I wanted to get the chickens out today, and I didn't want them to be out until I had at least this portion predator proofed, because snakes could get under there, rats could get under there. Actually, if rats climb up, they could get through this. So hopefully, I haven't had any problems with them in the coops anyway. So hopefully I don't have any in the future. But they're getting out and checking it out and seeming to enjoy it. That gives them more room to run. Okay, so for stapling the hardware cloth to the chicken coop, I use these narrow crown staples. They're only a 1/4 inch wide to go over the wire, but they're 1 inch long. And I want them that long so that they're not easily pulled out. And I put a lot of staples in this. And I staple the top. So I put staples across the top every couple of inches, 2 to 3 inches. And then in between those, I also go down 2 to 3 inches and staple down further into the hardware cloth. Also, I didn't staple, I only stapled the top here when I did the chicken wire over the hoops. So I'm going back and stapling the edge of this down too. It's not really necessary. I just don't want to get caught on it. Okay, so I want to show you how I do the corners because that's real important. So I go 1.5 to 2 feet out past the structure and cut it off. Now remember I had it bent up here to go on the wood. So I took a cutting wheel on the grinder and I just cut right down along the edge of the board. And then I just lay this down and staple it. Now the next piece I'm going to cut will go over the top of this and all along the back. And again, overlap onto that weed fabric I have over there. So before I do this very end piece, I'm going to go ahead and do the other side of the wood structure. I'm not going to film that because it's doing exactly the same thing that I just did. So I'll be back with you shortly. Okay, so for the ends, I always overlap the ends pieces with the side pieces all the way to the edge. Staple that down here. And these are just the Figaro fabric and garden staples. I get these from Home Depot. I always buy them in the big box of 500 because they're much cheaper that way. It's, I don't remember, $70, $80, which is still pretty expensive, but per staple, they're much, much cheaper than buying like a dozen or two or 25 or whatever, 50. They're much cheaper than buying them that way. So I just barely tack that down because I have to cut this again with my grinder cutter wheel. So, and I just use the DeWalt grinder. I like the cordless because I always get tangled up in all the cords. Too much in the way. And then I just push it down, and then I'm able to tack that all down. Okay. And I always tack this end down before I forget, because otherwise I come out here and trip on it. Well, it certainly feels good to be done with this project. So I have the Predator guard on both ends and the total length of both sides. So both on the coop and the run. out here where there's not weed block, this will grow up with grass and stuff through it. It'll just grow through the predator guard. And then you'll just mow it like you do your regular grass. Just cut along it and mow it. So, and there's already grass growing. I did weed eat to get it shorter for putting down the predator cloth. Yeah, this is one of my free-range chickens out here. Checking on the other stuff. She's not usually over this far. But oh, a lot of the chicks are out. They come out and play for a while and eat grass, and then they go back in and take a nap. So if you're enjoying this type of video, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and share our videos on your social media. It's the best way you can help our channel to grow. Thank you so much for watching Jimmy Branch Homestead. Take care and God bless.